All right, so I wanted to discuss something I saw on Instagram actually yesterday. Damon John put out a challenge. It's called the Rise and Grind Challenge, and it's a hashtag Rise and Grind Challenge on Instagram. And he said post
Nothing.
He said post what your rise and grind will be, and so, or what it is, or what have you. And so what I decided was, what I thought would be cool, I should say, is that today we knew we were going to prepare for Irby Poppin', and so I thought we would share a little bit about this particular thing we're doing today for Irby Pop to get for the holidays. And so that would be the rise and grind, basically. And we would share that on Instagram, but also that we would discuss kind of like, at least right now, we would discuss entrepreneurship and marriage and what that looks like as we go and do what we're about to do.
What it looks like is, if you don't love your spouse before you all decide to go into business, don't.
If you don't love your if you don't love it. Now, okay, so now listen. There are people out there that believe that they do love their spouse.
Nah, man.
Well, what is it?
Nah.
So is it love, really? What is it?
Nah, man.
What is it?
No, okay, actually, so what I mean is, marriage is one thing. You're already in this covenant relationship where you're building and, you are still growing together, and you are figuring out, how to kind of navigate this thing called life together, right?
Right.
But then you add, on top of the role of husband and wife, you add CEO, you add marketing, you add sales, you add, finances, you add all these different things. And if you do not like your spouse, love your spouse, cherish your spouse, are committed to working through whatever with your spouse, then the business might very well be the death, like the noose of your marriage. That's what I meant.
I hear you. We've seen it. We've seen it happen, to successful families.
Yes. And then, just to be honest, sometimes I want to throw you in a garbage can.
And vice versa.
I know. That's what's so exciting. And so look, what we have learned, or what I know I've learned, and I think you've seen it too, is we have very different business working styles. When we're working in alignment, when we're on, man, it is powerful. We're on. Like, it is a sight to behold, a force to be reckoned with, right?
Booyah.
But when our styles are clashing, conflicting, or we're working at two different speeds and we think that the other should be working at another speed, it's like, you know what? If you weren't my husband, I would not be working with you. And I'm sure you've felt the same way.
Yeah.
That's because, I be handling business all the time. But I'm just saying.
Anyway.
But I don't have the option to fire you, and I do have an option to quit, but I haven't gotten to that point where I'm like, you know what, I'm done. But I do remember feeling like, you know what, babe, I would rather just have a harmonious marriage than to be dealing with strife in the business that's affecting our marriage.
Right.
And I will quit. Remember that? I think maybe a year or so ago. A year or two ago.
Maybe 3 years, 4 years ago. 5.
Maybe once a year. Maybe.
No, never that.
I know it hasn't been once a year, but it was one time that I felt that way.
Oh man, the phone.
Visual?
Yeah, gotta get the visual. That's why I put the light on, babe.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta make it work for the people. Yeah. How y'all doing? So yeah. But that's interesting. So.
But can I? But what do you love about working with your spouse? Like, what do I love about working with my wife? Because there's some kind of with your wife, with me, I mean, I opened up pretty pessimistic and hard.
The feminine part of my life.
Yeah, that, me. But I opened up pretty pessimistic, pretty hard. Like, if you don't love your spouse, don't do it. Your relationship is going to be over. And there's some truth to that, but what do you love about working with me? Or, you know.
I agree with the idea that the love has to be there. But it's not a superficial love. It has to be a deep, abiding love.
Like commitment, dedication.
It's serious.
Vulnerability.
It's so serious. It's nothing to play with. Marriage is not for punks. I mean, you made that statement.
Not for punks.
It's not for punks at all. So it's so serious. But, and then when I'm done, I want you to share about what you love.
When you're done.
When you're done, right? So anyway, so what I truly adore about working with my wife, you, is that because we have similar ideas and taste, it's enjoyable to be able to bounce ideas and then get the favorable feedback. You know, I guess that's one of the main things that is important when entering into the business with your spouse or your partner, is that you gotta have some similar kind of something that no matter what goes together, it melds together. You know, like I care about quality. I care about you know, having things done the right way, and so do you. You know, even though maybe sometimes I'll be like, look, we can just do it like this and get it going.
No.
And at times we can,
No.
but because you be like, no, I mean, like, well, whatever. I'll do it the way you say to do it.
You gotta hold the line of excellence.
And so, I know you gotta hold the line of excellence, most definitely, yes. But what I'm saying is that there's sometimes when that excellence gets overboard. Yes, it does. Because you can be too wanting to be excellent.
But look, if you know you can achieve and do better, that means better can be done. It's different if you just can't do it.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Or if you don't have the vision for it.
We can't. There's no way in this instance that we can quantify exactly what I'm talking about. But know that there's no way that you can forever, always have that excellent thing down packed. There's going to be a mistake. There's going to be.
I'm not talking about with
I'm
mistakes.
just saying there's going to be something that's maybe a little off kilter, a little bit here or there. It's going to happen.
I don't subscribe to that. I think that if you see something that's a little off kilter, there's your
if you see it, yes.
So
if it's within your control, then yes.
Right. So once again, if you don't have the resources or the vision, or if you just don't see it, I get that.
But I can't. I mean,
but that's why
I understand all that. But there's sometimes there are some instances where that is not necessary. We gotta make some alterations. But there's no way I could justify it in this conversation right now. I just can't. And I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try. So yeah. So for you. So for me, it's the ideas.
So that's for you.
So for me, it's the our ability to be able to bounce things off each other, and they be something similar. Or one of us can. It's exciting to see on your face, or maybe exciting to see on my face when you say something. I'm like, that's what I was thinking, you know. And so that's the joy. And then to be able to, you know, when we doing events and stuff, you know, to be all up on you, you know, sweet, pinching your butt and stuff. That's always a good deal. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
You're so silly.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so. I also enjoy that.
You enjoy your butt being pinched?
No, sir.
You don't enjoy your butt being pinched?
In public, no.
Oh, you don't like PDA?
A little bit, but not like you do it, because you are out of control. You need boundaries and borders in your life. And that's why I'm here.
Girl, no.
So what I love about being in business with you is that what you're saying, I love the fact that it could be like 1 a.m. I could roll over and be like, bang!
This doggone camera, yo.
This is how we should do it. And then you're able to like be like, girl,
is it still on? Yeah.
In the morning, talk to me in the morning, or like, okay, or I feel it too. And then to literally be able to watch you bring those ideas to life.
What do you mean? Watch me bring what? Your idea?
Yeah, idea that I have or we have.
That's another thing. That's another thing I like. I'm sorry.
What?
Go ahead. I don't know if I can remember because
No, go ahead. That's what I'm saying.
I'm like my mother when it comes to my memory. But anyway, Oompa Loompa.
I said ginkgo biloba.
Yeah. But anyway, so what was I talking about?
You said, ooh, that's another thing. I said that watching you bring ideas to life.
Right. That's another positive for me also is that you come up with the idea and I bring it to fruition.
Isn't that like, to me, that is like quintessential teamwork.
It's great.
And I love that. I love that because I've just come to embrace that I'm an idea generator.
He's an ideator.
And I'm an ideator, right? And when I have an idea in my head, I cannot bring it to life without assistance. And then when you are able to step in and bring it to life, creatively, logistically, materially, all that.
Right.
That just floats my boat. That just makes me feel
I
awesome.
like it when your boat floats, baby.
So I like that.
I like it when your boat floats.
I like that. Okay, so this is kind of interesting to me. Before I decided that I would marry you, I needed to know that we could work together, like literally work together, build a life together. I am a woman who...
Real quick, do we get off at Belmont?
I don't know.
Where do we get off? Because we're going to the one on Clark.
North Avenue, Clark, somewhere around there.
It's not North Avenue.
It's Clark. It's near Yummy Yummy over there somewhere. So, I'm the type of woman that I knew that when I wanted a husband, I didn't want just some man at home who I shared niceties with a couple hours out of the day and then I had my own life. I really, really enjoy the fact that we live a life with so many touch points. So we enjoy similar things. We find pleasure in similar things. That's the same thing, right? We do business together. We raise our children together, you know. And so I needed to know that we could work together. And so now, some 13, 15 years later, seeing that vision of wanting to just really be all cleaved up and in.
Cleaved, you say?
Cleaved. In the proper sense of the word, all up and in with my husband in business is awesome. And I do love when we go to do our events or we do marketing and things like that. And they're like, oh, you're husband and wife? Like, yes. Look at this power right here. Because I like that. I do too. I love that. You're right. That's power. I think that is power.
That is power, and that's the one thing that's been plaguing our community. The loss of that power.
But you know what? Let's talk. Speaking of power, let's transparently share a struggle that we had at one point in time, way back early in the marriage.
Oh, you want to bring that up?
Well, I think it's. Are you jelly? I mean,
I ain't jelly.
Not jelly, but you know I believe
jelly.
in being transparent. Excuse me. Don't be looking at me like that. But I like being really transparent because if you're going to help somebody, let's help somebody.
Let's help them. Let's help the people.
There was one point when we were working together and there was some friction
betwixt the two of us?
Well, I don't know if it was really between us or toward the roles that we were playing.
Right.
Because I am a professional speaker, I tended to be out in the front more.
Right.
And Brodie did a lot of the support work, a lot of the logistics in the back. And then at one point in time, he was like, hey, wait a minute.
Dirty.
I think I should be out in the front. And I was like, okay. But then he realized, I don't know, tell him what you realized.
Well, the thing was is that I was trying to figure out what actually I wanted to. Like once we got married and things started really going, sour with my I don't want to give up too much, but things started going like really rocky. And
with us?
No, with not with us necessarily, but just not. I should explain it like that. Things started to really get heavy for me trying to recover from being let go from a position.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I was banking on this position to be our leg up, our stability.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the blue, no warning, it just ended just like that. And the organization that ended it it's a high level federal, governmental organization.
Mm-hmm.
And and it just kind of tore me down. In retrospect, I'm thinking about this, and I couldn't get back up. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you were coming up with these ideas, and I wasn't coming up with anything. I couldn't figure anything out, and it didn't register to me until 10, 11 years later that your idea, which you had been saying for all along, your idea, I could have been the one earlier on pushing the back end and pushing all the stuff that I know to do technologically to make it work, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it until I saw it. And then once I saw it, I realized, okay, that's kind of what needs to happen. But it was all about me not being able to rebound from that.
And no, I thank you for being so honest and transparent, because I think many people, not just husbands, but wives maybe too, go through things in life where they get hit hard, and then just emotionally and mentally and even spiritually at times just can't pull it back together in a way that makes sense to anybody. And like you just said, it took about 11 years.
It took a while.
And so can you imagine if you are in a marriage and you're not committed, for your spouse to be taking 11 years to get something together?
And that's what I'm saying. It has to be mercy. It has to be. People say love, but it's got to be more than love.
Let me tell you something.
Got to be more than love.
The same year we got married, and the year before, and the year right after, a lot of couples got married that we know.
Yes.
And do you know it's only about 3 of those couples still together?
Oh, I didn't know that.
One of the major reasons that wives, I know, were leaving left and right is because
my boy Todd, my best friend, he still got it.
He's still together.
He's still together.
Praise the Lord. But one of the major reasons that a lot of these wives are just like, I'm leaving, is because the husband wasn't doing financially what they thought he should be doing. And so they were like, peace out. And I'm like, whoa, hey, that's not a divorceable reason.
That's not cause for divorce. That's
not cause for divorce. Whatever happened to support? Whatever happened to better or for worse? So back to this, there was like conflict toward our roles. So because Brodie was having a hard time just kind of figuring out himself and, whatever he was thinking, he started to look at my role being in the front, being in the public's eye more. And it was just like, hey, I want to do that. Maybe I should be doing that and not you. And I said, okay. But the thing is, he's not a public speaker. And so then he realized, well, maybe that's not what I should be doing,
right.
And so
it took me a while to get that off.
It took some time and a lot of back and forth and a lot of trying different things out and a lot of figuring out what are my talents and standing and owning that. Like at one point in our marriage, I remember I said, babe, you know who you are? I said, you got the spirit of Bezalel and Aholiab.
Bezalel.
And we went to the Bible.
Look it up if you don't know what that is.
Look up Bezalel and Aholiab.
Bezalel.
And basically, give you a little spoiler alert, Bezalel in the Bible, he was endowed by the Spirit of God with the skill of all craftsmanship and cunning works and embroidery. He was one of the major, him and Aholiab, builders of the temple. And so I said,
their first temple.
Right, the first temple. And I said, babe, I believe that's your gifting, because this man right here, he is skilled with his hands. If he sees it, he can do it. I'm talking about, can you lay a new floor? And he'll be like, yes. I'll be like, babe, you laid a floor before? He'll be like, no. And I'm like, why you tell these people you can lay a floor? He'll be like, because I can.
Put food on the table.
And he does it, and it's beautiful. Many people don't even know he's an artist. I mean, a beautiful artist. He's a master painter. He does all kinds of things with his hands. He builds websites. He is a tech guy. So all that working together, I'm like, babe, you are logistics. Like, you are the motor to this creativity that I have. And so recently, in the last few years, we've been able to harness the power of that. And it's been really, really beautiful. Like right now, literally right now as we drive, we are on our way to finalize.
I'm about to show y'all what we see real quick. You see that? I don't know if this picture doesn't do any justice, but this is what we see right now. Anyway, but we're about to finalize packaging.
We're on our way to finalize packaging for these gift sets for Irby Pop,
right,
for the holiday season.
And
so even in that, I had some really, really creative ideas and just real talk. My ideas are oftentimes very, very, what word would you use? What adjective?
Over the top. No, not over the top. They're not over the top. They're expensive.
Well, that's an adjective.
Costly.
I would like to use luxury. My ideas are oftentimes very luxury oriented, and just real talk, where we are in our brand, in our company right now, we definitely have an upscale popcorn brand, but as far as business revenue goes, I need to find a way to present luxury ideas
on a budget.
So
for real.
Oftentimes it's a lot of back and forth between Brodie and I. I'm like, why can't we just do it like this? And he's like, why can't we? This is why we can't just do it like that. And I'm like, oh. And so right now we have to have a meeting of the minds, and we have to go figure out what can be beautiful, yet upscale, yet affordable.
Outstanding. I'm glad you come to the revelation.
It's not easy. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy.
I like it too. I mean, I love the stuff you picked out, but I'm like, you just can't do it.
So I like, all of this talking about what I like and working together with you.
Right.
I think that's a lot of it. And I love seeing your skills develop. I love seeing you be challenged and then get over the hump and like just grow in an area. That's beautiful. But let me tell you what I don't like.
It's a beautiful thing.
Let me tell you what I don't like.
What you don't like?
Because this is something I don't like.
What you don't? Tell me what you don't like.
Sometimes.
Oh boy.
I'm not gonna call any names.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when you're working with a alpha personality.
Man, what is the deal? You know what? We're not thinking like
an alpha personality.
When you're working with an alpha personality.
And when you're working with someone who does not want to appear that they don't know all things.
Who does that?
I said we're not naming names.
Ain't me.
Sometimes they will say they got certain things or know certain things, and they have an idea but they really don't know. So instead of just being like, I just don't know how, or I don't know about that, or put me on.
I know I say that. I don't know.
They act like they do know for like 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden be like, I don't know.
Right, so ladies, if you're having that type of issue, what do you do?
All that time that is wasted when they could have just said, oh no, I don't know how to do that. You know?
That's terrible. That's straight terrible.
It is.
It's terrible.
It really is. It's terrible, it's painful, and it's prideful. But guess what? Working through all things.
Get it together.
So get it together.
Get it together.
So, but in general, I love it. I love that we're actually building a life together. Yeah, I love that.
But I think it. Oh my goodness, that was bold. Anyway, but I think that this whole thing begins at the beginning of the relationship, during the time of getting to know one another before marriage, because I believe that the reason why it's like this now is because in the beginning, when we were dating, I'm not gonna say anything else about that, but when we were dating, right? We were dating.
When I decided to date you?
Right. Exactly. So that at that time, I showed myself, and I purposed to do this. I showed myself open and available for whatever it was that you needed, wanted to do, were interested in.
Now that's true. That is true.
Always. I was at the point in my life where I was like, this is the one, and because she's the one, I am completely at her every beck and call.
And you know what, baby? You did that. I felt completely supported. I felt completely adored. I felt completely.
Why you breaking with me 3 times then?
I thought you weren't gonna bring that up.
Sorry. The wound deep, y'all. The wound deep, yo. The wound deep. I'm trying to.
We've been married.
Trying to fuck that
13
wound
years.
up.
Been together 16 years.
Put that mercure comb on that wound.
He needs healing, y'all.
Yeah.
Pray for complete and thorough healing.
It's there. It's coming.
Brodie,
It's gradual.
Because when we were dating, we broke up 3 times. I broke up with him 3 times. Really, really good reasons. And we'll talk. No, did you post that one podcast where we talked about it?
I did. That's the first one.
The first one we did. We talked about it
a little bit.
A little bit.
If y'all want to hear more, just let us know. We'll tell you the whole kid and caboodle.
And of course, there are 2 sides to the story. But what were we saying? You were saying you thought you laid the foundation.
That was the foundation.
And that's one thing that made me fall in love with him. He was thorough. He was present. He was available. I mean, even down to, now this might seem like a really minor example, but it was huge to me.
Some serious traffic.
We were gonna make some carob chip cookies one day.
Carob chip cookies.
And
was it carob?
It was either carob or back in the day chocolate, one or the other.
When we were eating chocolate?
Right. One or the other. And okay, so I'm one of 8. Okay? And at my house you grab whatever pan is available to bake some cookies in. So I don't care if that's a biscuit pan, an old pie tin pan, and you just throw your cookie dough in there and you get your cookies. Well, we were by his place, and I was like, babe, let's make some cookies. This brother went out. He had pans at home, but he went out and bought cookie sheets.
Right, because I wasn't baking no cookie on no
But what that
pan.
said to me as a woman was that this brother was efficient and he was thorough, and he believed in doing things properly.
Like making pancakes in a cupcake tin.
Yes, I can do it. I can do that too. But that's one of the things that really drew me to him, was that he showed that he was just about doing things properly and all the way, and that he was supportive. I used to perform a lot. He was at every performance. He would take me to rehearsals. One time we were missing a cast member, and he even stood in for the cast member in rehearsal so that we could go all the way with rehearsal.
And I had to make an alteration to the scene.
You didn't have to, but
I had to.
You didn't have to. You made a great suggestion.
No, I had to.
And it was wonderful.
I had to.
He trying to change people's scripts.
No, I had to change the script.
You don't have to change.
It didn't make any sense. It had to change.
It didn't.
Because I wasn't going to do what they wanted me to do.
Then you could have set your little self
if I was, well, she needed me, so.
Oh my goodness.
I was
bravado.
Needed, so I made the change.
Supercilious, is that our vocabulary word for the day?
Supercilious? No.
That's not our vocabulary word?
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry.
Okay.
No, not our.
I thought you passed it on
I
to
put
me.
you on to that word.
Supercilious. You just got a glimpse into what I deal with in business with my husband. Okay, you got to know your man. You got to know your man.
Supercilious. If you don't know what that means, check it out. You'll learn it. It'll be a great thing to do. Supercilious. Yes.
So
I tell you,
it's awesome. But babe, you were saying that you think that if this kind of foundation can be laid in the dating process, then it makes it better. But my question immediately, my thought was, what about people who get married and then they're evolving and then they discover they want to be in business? They discover they're entrepreneurial.
That's another way.
But what I'm saying, they didn't lay this kind of foundation necessarily.
True.
While dating, this traffic is vicious. So what traits or what criteria would you say would be necessary or really, really good for them to have in the relationship so that they can grow together? Because we've seen it where one couple decides they want to be an entrepreneur and the other couple is like, I ain't about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm not supporting that. Do you? And you better not miss doing anything at home.
Ooh-wee.
So
Rough ends.
I know. So what do you say?
It's tough. I mean, I think before you even think about getting married to someone, you have to personally be open to change. You have to personally be open to pushing through difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, you're going to have to be able to have gone through some difficulties and push through so that you can have the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of difficulties. You build the muscle of pushing through, of making it happen. That's the beautiful thing about that. For me, it was for being in the Marine Corps. Like, before I went to the Corps, I had no idea what it meant to push.
Mm-hmm.
No clue. It wasn't until afterwards that I realized what it means to push and how much my body physically can take if I disconnect my mental from my physical. Meaning that I push past the mental pain, the mentally physical pain that my body's feeling, and go with the physical mental and keep going. I don't know if you understood that. Might not have got that.
I get it.
But, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so because I did that, I was able to physically get through, and also mentally, because the Marine Corps was a mental game as well. And then also I believe that carried over into this long-term relationship that I'm in with you. That I know that I'm not going anywhere. I know what it's like to be on the other side. I don't need to go back to that. I don't want to go back. I have no desire to go back to that again.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't right. It was completely wrong. It was everything. I had to. I don't even have to get into all that. But I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where we have to know what it means to buckle down and push through and make it work, compromise, do whatever it is you got to do to make sure it happens. That's the thing. To make sure it continues to flow and continues to move. Will you have some days where you don't talk? Yes. Will you have some days where, you know, you don't like looking at the person, or you don't want them touching you, or they look disgusting to you? Yes. Mm-hmm. Those are the push days.
It seems to be that when you hear about the marriage narrative, it's either just like, oh, that's a ball and chain. Don't do it. You're just going to be miserable. You're going to be happy before, but miserable. You ain't going to have no sex when you get married. You ain't going to have no happiness. You ain't going to be able to do nothing. It's like either that side of the story, or it's just like, oh no, marriage is bliss. Like, it's just so much love. It's just la la land. You know, it's like no balance. But
la, la,
where are the people saying, you know, no, this marriage, it is a beautiful thing, but it's also not for punks. It's not for the faint of heart. You are going to put in some work days. You're going to have some push days. You're going to have days where you feel like, I am not doing this. But then you can come back and remember why you did in the beginning.
If you are working a 9 to 5,
mm-hmm.
and you have a boss, a supervisor, a manager, or whoever that you are disgusted with, but you continue to go to work every day to deal with that discussing personality. I don't know how to. That's another word I'm making up, right?
Go ahead.
To deal with that personality,
mm-hmm.
You have no excuse. In my mind, you have no excuse when it comes to a marriage. If you are married and you're going to a 9 to 5 and you're dealing with a difficult boss or whomever that's over you, and you continue to push and go through every day, you should not complain one iota.
But I'm only at my job because I gotta eat. I'm only dealing with them because I gotta eat.
But you also signed the contract to be in a marriage.
True.
You also signed the contract. I don't care. I'm not talking about the paperwork you filled out for the state. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before your creator. You made you posed a vow. There was a vow. You signed the contract. That's what they say. That's what they told us the United States Marine Corps stands for. You signed the M stood for something else, but contract, right? It's a curse word. But anyway, you signed it. So that contract you signed is binding. It's binding above. It's binding with your creator. So you letting it go, not a part of the deal. Because of money, because of you upset. You upset with the person at work. You disgusted with them. You disgusted with the person at work, but you continue to go. I'm just saying, I don't want to go off on a tangent.
I know what you mean.
But this is all encompassed to entrepreneurship. You know, when you're in a marriage or entrepreneurship, because you're going to deal with this kind of stuff.
I got a question.
You would rather deal with that boss than to rather deal with your spouse trying to build a brighter future. I think black people have a real serious issue.
I have a question for you.
With this kind of stuff. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
My question is, what if one day I just came and I said, babe, this business that we've been building together, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I don't want any parts of it. I'm done. What would you do?
Scenario. I thought about that.
Really?
I've thought about this. I think about worst case scenarios often. I do. To try to keep me, you know. But anyway, I don't know. Depending on where we are in the organization, I would do my best to keep it going. I know that one thing. If it was like where we are right now, if it stopped, then it would be very difficult